It's Backstage Pass with Steve Ryan. And here's your host, Steve Ryan.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, Fergal, how are you, my
How you
friend?
doing? Good to see you again.
It's good to see you. Thank you for giving me some time, brother.
Sure, no problem. No problem at all.
Hey, I was pretty excited when I got the information on this
Yeah.
reissue remaster EP, man. But you guys have had a lot of stuff kind of going on in the last 60 days or so. So I know I have a limited amount of time with you, but I want to try to cover as much as I can. But I was just spending some time with the EP, and I knew of it, but I hadn't really spent any time listening to it. There was a really limited run originally, right?
It was, yeah. It was our first EP, I think. Yeah, just after we signed to Ireland. Um, they said maybe do an EP first before you do the album. Maybe go out, do a little bit of touring. The guy that signed us, Denny Cordell, he was just a great guy, a real good music guy. Who had been around the block. He had produced early Tom Petty stuff and Procol Harum, and kind of knew the Stones, and he was from that era and just really knew how to develop a band. It wasn't a case of, okay, let's see how this does. It was like, it's going to be slow, nice step after step, and we'll get there. Because we had that mentality of longevity. We don't want to be a flash in the pan who kind of has a bit of success and then you're gone and you're back to your day job. We wanted to make a career out of it, and he understood that.
Yeah. And the songs they hold up to everything else that you guys did. I mean, you listen to those songs. I mean, it's obvious it's you guys. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
the,
so
the
good.
production is a little bit 80s. There's a lot of reverb there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it captures that time, which is really sweet. But we were thinking, after listening back to it, would be nice to get Stephen Street to maybe do a remix of it sometime, and just to see, because the songs are really good.
Yeah.
It's just the production could be a bit better. Maybe be nice to see what he does with it.
I had read, tell me if this is right. Is there a limited edition vinyl on this?
Yes,
Yeah, I love
um,
vinyl.
I think it's 1,200 copies, and it's cranberry colored vinyl.
Yeah. Can you get that on the website? Where do you find that?
Yeah, yeah, on the website, yeah. Or
Yeah.
yeah, just type in Google cranberries on certain whatever where to buy, and it'll pop
Something come
up.
up. Yeah, man. That's so, I'm certain the song is, I mean, it could have been a single. You think?
Yeah, it's quite poppy. It's really radio friendly, as they say,
Yeah.
And I like it and everything, but my favorite song on this is the very last one, Them,
Them. Yeah.
because it's so moody and so dark and kind of, yeah, yeah, it's beautiful.
That's why they listen to someone else. I did nothing
I was listening to it last night, and I've said this a lot in interviews lately. Maybe it's just because I'm revisiting a lot of 80s and 90s music, but that song, Them, to me, it's kind of like a dream. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, I wouldn't say spooky. It's just kind of flows in this
It's like something
gentle
from
area.
a David Lynch soundtrack or something,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's that
Yeah.
kind of, dream sequency. Yeah,
Yeah. The nothing left at all though. I mean that's so cranberries.
totally. Yeah. It's a shame actually. It would have been nice to maybe have that on the first album or something like that. But I think we had moved on then. It was like, oh, they're older songs. Let's get to the new ones. And you know, when you have some new songs, you were kind of looking forward more to putting them on the album. But we used to play Nothing Left at All a lot live at the start. And then as new songs come along, it kind of gets pushed to the back, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good live song because when it kicks in, it's kind of pumping.
Yeah.
Now it's over, but the thoughts of you go on. Nothing here, nothing left at all. Oh, and how I swore I'd never feel like this again. But then you brought it true.
When you guys were just getting on, and maybe around the time that you did the EP, probably before, who were your musical influences? Who were you guys? You know, who was really kind of plugging that zone for you musically, and kind of as you were figuring out where you wanted to be creatively?
At that time, it was fairly early, so it would have been like the Smiths and the Cure,
Yeah.
Joy Division, Depeche Mode, Stranglers, you know, all that kind of alternative 80s stuff, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, right up my alley. I love that stuff. Did, and then about a month ago, I want to look in my notes and see if I have it written down. You guys put out the MTV Unplugged recording. You want to talk about
Yeah.
that a little bit?
Yeah, we had been trying to do that for a long time because it was so I think a lot of people really were blown away by it, and especially newer fans maybe were going, oh my God, you know, I'd never heard that before, because they didn't know what MTV Unplugged was, maybe because they're
Yeah.
younger. So we were trying to get our hands in it and figure out the red tape of how do we get, because it was owned by MTV, we'll say. So we had a chat to Universal and asked them if they could, you know, sort out all the red tape and the bureaucracy or whatever to try and get it so that we could release it. And that, yeah, it worked out, and it worked out really well. And it's beautiful. It's really nice to have it on a vinyl.
Yeah.
Because it never had been released. I think a lot of bands released their one at the time, but we never
Yeah.
did.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. It's just
Was
one
it
of those ones-
important to you that it come out?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because it's such a special thing to do, you know, and so many really, really good bands did it, and they all turned out really well because it was really well produced. It was really, the whole day was just went without a hitch, you know. Everything was really well organized. It was really relaxed, no pressure. You know,
Yeah.
if anything went wrong, we could just do another take, and it was all relaxed. It was fantastic. So it's great to have that and be able to hold it in your hand, you know.
I read that it was recorded on Valentine's Day of '95.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
That's almost 31 years ago to the day.
I know. And I remember it like it was yesterday. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
You know, there's something about Dolores and the way she sings, and she was such an incredible communicator. She was kind of a storyteller, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, they were all, those songs were all written about personal experiences, you know, on those early songs. And yeah, just telling stories of what happened to her and, you know, her life. And yeah, it was amazing. She had real talent.
I read, tell me if this is true, that that MTV Unplugged concert show was the first time you guys did Free to Decide live.
I think it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, because it was fairly new. Because 95, we would have been touring for No Need to Argue, and Free to Decide was on the next album.
I'm free to decide. I'm free to decide. And I'm not so suicidal after all. It all.
And also there was a song on that Unplugged, which we never played again and never recorded, called
I don't
I'm drawing a blank.
I don't have the list
More
in front of me.
coffee, quick. Yesterday's Gone. That was it. It was called Yesterday's Gone. The song, Noel had some chords that he was playing a few days previously to Dolores, and she was like, oh, I really like that. And she went away and wrote some lyrics and kind of melody, and then this song came out of nowhere. We're like, oh wow, let's put that in the MTV Unplugged, because it sounds really nice acoustically. So we recorded it at the Unplugged and never completely forgot about it, never played it live again, and never recorded it in the studio, which is strange because it's a beautiful song.
Yesterday's done, there's no return, and she cries all night.
It's just one of those ones that fell through the cracks, just one of those magic moments.
Wow. There's another song on there, the version that I think holds up so great and so emotional. The way it's done is Empty.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that just, you can, because of maybe it's the whole thing, the atmosphere, the audience was great. You guys sounded so good, and her voice was just so good that day too.
Yeah.
And Empty,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like pulls you.
It sure does. Yeah. Her vocal in that is absolutely incredible.
Say a prayer for me. Help me to feel the strength I did. My identity has it been taken? In my heart breaking on me. All my plans fell through my hands. They fell through my hands.
Because I remember when we went to record it, we tried it with drums first. It was kind of like, no, I don't know, it doesn't need drums, So we said, let's try it acoustics. Because we had played it acoustically in record stores and at radio stations and stuff like that. And we said it really works acoustically, so it doesn't need, a full drum kit or anything like that.
Yeah.
And we used to play it a lot in the live set. We'd kind of we play a few kind of heavier songs like Zombie and Ridiculous Thoughts and stuff, and then take a break. We'd go off and have a pee, come back on and just play Empty. So the whole, you go from Zombie, the crowd kind of chills out a little bit, and then you come back on with Empty, and it's like, oh, the whole place, you can just hear it stop and breathe.
But even in acoustically on that album, on the Unplugged, Zombie sounds great.
Yeah, that was the one we were concerned about. That was the only one we were worried about, going, oh, how is this going to translate? And we rehearsed with the strings. The quartet were amazing. Electra strings, they were called. And Dolores is kind of going, it needs to be pumping in the chorus. And they were like, oh, yeah, we got it. Because they had played with rock bands and stuff before, so they were cool. They weren't, real strict classical musicians.
Yeah.
They were a bit more rock and roll. So they got it. And then it really worked well,
It
thank
did,
God. Once we did rehearsal, we were like, okay, this is going to work, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds so good.
In your head, they are crying. In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. What's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie.
Funny story, personal story. My oldest son, he's an adult now, but he was in grade school. I can't remember what grade he was in, probably 5th or 6th grade. And every Friday they could bring in music, and during art time they would play music and stuff. And he loved Zombie. And so I dubbed it onto a cassette for him to take into school with him. And they put it on, and he said, my teacher only let us listen to about a minute of that before she said that was just too much for this class. He was so mad. It was so great. I loved it so much. He loves your band.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What's his name?
His name is Zach.
Hi, Zach.
He's going to love that. I'm going to send it to him. How important was MTV to you guys breaking, especially in the States, do you think?
It was important, yeah, very important. Because originally, college radio had started playing us, and then that kind of branched out a bit to various radio stations. And then I think MTV was the next level after that. It kind of brought it everywhere because I remember myself and Mike used to share a room on those early tours, and we'd come into the room and put on MTV straight away, and we'd be listening to whatever bands were on, and then it was like, oh my God, they're playing Linger, the first time. And then after like a month or two, it's like, they're playing Linger again. Oh my God, it's on every hour. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
Man, I love Linger, and it was a huge hit. But you know what I love about it? The whole song's great, but I love the intro. I love the way it just kind of eases in, and the guitar and Dolores is just kind of doing this humming thing at the beginning. It's
Yeah.
just so light and beautiful, and then the orchestra kicks in, and you're doing this little tap tap thing. You're not rushing it. You're just kind of easing into it. Man, that song is so great.
yeah, it just sounds like it could be from any time.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like 80s or 90s or anything like that. It's just one of those magic songs. And it's the first song we ever wrote together.
Really?
Linger, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But I miss something. You know I'm such a fool for you. You got me wrapped around your finger. Do you have to let it linger? Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger? Oh, I thought the world of you. I thought nothing
Like we were just talking about, you can hear that now, and it sounds like anything as good as anything else coming out. It's still relevant as far as what's going on musically right now, and it just holds up.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
know what you guys were doing was special? Did you feel it, or was it just hopeful
Yeah, we
kind of
definitely
stuff?
felt it was special to us.
Yeah.
We didn't imagine that people would be listening to these songs in 30 years' time or whatever. But at the time, we were definitely impressed because you have to take yourself out of it and go, if I wasn't in this band, would I like this song?
Yeah.
And you're gonna go, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
And that's when the song is finished, it's ready to go, release it.
Yeah. I've talked to a lot of people, and they're like, I was never quite satisfied with it. It just never quite, I always wanted to keep tweaking with it. And finally, the producer or another band member just says, we've got it. It's okay.
Yeah.
I know it's our baby, but we got to let it go. Or was it real easy for you guys? Like, okay, we've got it. And maybe it's song by
yeah.
song.
Yeah, no, I think it was great because Stephen Street was just he had a really good head in his shoulders, and it was really organized in the studio, and it was fun as well. But it was organized, and he knew exactly what he was doing, and was great at giving advice, kind of going, look, if you put too much, it's like a glass of water. If you put too much stuff in it, the water's going to spill out the sides.
Yeah.
So just enough, you need to leave some space. And it was like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
great advice.
I had on Simon Kirk, the drummer for Bad Company, not
Yeah.
that long ago, and we were talking about what you just said, and he said sometimes it's more important what you leave out than what you put
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. You need to have that space there for people, things to breathe.
Yeah. Dreams was a big hit, and I had read you guys did 3 videos for that song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Couldn't get the video right.
Yeah.
Just tried a few different people, and it was like, not quite. So then eventually we settled on the last one. It might even be an amalgamation. I don't even know what the actual video for Dreams is these days. I think it's like maybe a mix of a few videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, didn't really like doing videos. It was like, oh God, I have to do a
Yeah.
video now. It's so annoying.
And I open up and see the person falling here is me. A different way to be.
But Dolores was great because she chat away to because she wrote all the lyrics. So she'd chat away to the director and go, well, it was this idea or that, when I was writing the song, and they'd kind of come up with an idea, and we just play our instruments,
Yeah. Your drumming on that song is so patient. It's so great. And,
it's great fun.
She did this, and she does it not just in this song, but it comes up every once in a while, this little yodel thing. I don't know if that's even the proper term for it.
Yeah,
I know.
it is. Yeah, because her dad used to listen to a lot of country music.
Yeah.
So she heard yodeling and stuff like that. So she did kind of her version of it.
I had never heard that before. Oh man, it was so good. It was I mean, you hear that the first time I heard that, it's like, what is that?
Crazy.
You don't forget it.
It was unique.
Yeah, man, that was so unique. Great. No need to, we're running up on the clock, but no need to argue. We talked about Zombie a little bit earlier, but Ode to My Family is a great tune, and I love the way Dolores comes in cold on that. You don't hear that very often.
With the do straight in, yeah.
And then my go-to cut, I don't think it was released as a single, is Dreaming My Dreams. It's kind of got this slow groove to it.
It's just a lullaby. It's a bedtime lullaby, It's fantastic. And we used to play it live a lot, and the whole crowd would just be like swaying along, and it's beautiful song. Love that song as well.
Me too.
Sat there, if you want me, I'll be here. I'll be dreaming my dreams with you. I'll be dreaming my dreams with you. And there's no other place that I lay down my face and be dreaming my dreams with you.
Are you aware, and tell me if you know anything about this, but I read that you guys were the first Irish band to have 1 billion streams.
I think that's correct. Yeah, I think it is.
How do you wrap your head
I'm not
around
100% sure, but I think it might be. Yeah. For Zombie was like, I couldn't believe it. And the funny thing is, we heard it was coming up to 1 billion, and I was doing an interview on Irish radio with Dave Fanning, who was like the alternative guy who played alternative music on radio in Ireland. So I was doing an interview with him, and in the middle of the interview, he says, "Oh my God, I just got news that it just hit 1 billion views," and I was like, trying to hold back the tears and everything. It was amazing, like phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you guys have sold over 50 million records too.
No.
How do you wrap your head around that? Or do you just not?
Don't really think about it.
Yeah.
No, as long as people like the music and the music still sounds relevant today, that's all that's important. It's fantastic. I mean, 30 years later, and we're still talking about these songs, and new people are still discovering them. That's what it's all about. It's incredible.
Yeah. To the Faithful Departed, Salvation is on that album. And man, that song is so fast.
Yeah, I know it. It's a kind of a punky song. Because I remember Noel came up with the chords. We were doing sound check, and he started playing this thing. I was like, "Jesus, it's a real Police." The Police. It's like that kind of, full on driving punky rock song. And yeah, we just kind of ran through it a few times, and Dolores said, "Oh, I like that. Give me a tape of that." And she took a tape away, and then came back a few days later, and we started playing it live like a week or two after that.
Wow. amazing. When You're Gone is on that album too, which is another song I love.
That's one of my favorites of all time. Yeah, I think we played that live almost every night. Whenever we played live, When You're Gone was always in there, and it's just such a like Dreaming My Dreams. It's got that classic 50s or 60s kind of Tammy Wynette or something. I don't know. It's gorgeous.
And I think she comes in cold on that on the intro to that too.
I think it might. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot it up. Shoot
Yeah.
it up. Actually, when we were playing live, there was a couple of guys, friends of ours, who would play additional guitar and keyboard parts and do some backing vocals. And Steve DeMarchi was doing the guitar, a Canadian guy, really nice guy, and he thought it was Shooby Wop. So he was doing Shooby Wop for the first few weeks, and then Dolores heard him one night and said, "Are you saying Shooby Wop?" And he was there, "Yeah, that's what it is." And she was there, "No, it's Doobie Dop." And he was like, "Oh, okay, okay."
Yeah, that's so great. She finally caught it. It's like, you've been doing it wrong the whole time. Wow, that's so great. I wanted to talk. I want to talk about "Promises" from Bury the Hatchet, because it's another one of my favorite songs that you guys did. Oh, man, it's so good, brother.
Yeah, it's a real rocking one. Live, especially, it was just one of those ones that when the chorus kicked in, the whole crowd went, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
You know, it's a full-on rocker, like.
yeah. What are you doing these days to satisfy that creative energy of yours? I mean, I know you're working on, these reissues and, of course, the MTV thing, but what do you do?
I've been doing music for documentaries and short films and that for, geez, about 8 or 9 years, I'd say, at this stage. And I have a little studio here beside the house. So I just work away, do my stuff, send emails back and forth, and it's fantastic. And I'm working on I did a solo album, oh, geez, in 2021 or two, of just instrumental stuff. So originally I was thinking, I'll do a little compilation of some instrumental stuff, send it out and see if I can get some movie work from that. And it ended up becoming an album. And I'm doing another one at the moment because I just finished a documentary about Don Bluth. You know him? He was an animator that worked at Disney for a long time and then went out on his own and did All Dogs Go to Heaven and
Oh, yeah.
Land Before Time, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I just finished that just before Christmas, and I need a break from the movie stuff now and do my own stuff for a while, dark and moody.
Yeah. What's the best way if people want to follow you and what you're doing and anything Cranberries and stuff like that? What social media wise? We talked about the website, but what's the best place for people to kind of keep an eye on what's happening with you? And Instagram and that kind of
Cranberries
stuff.
website and Instagram and all that. I think, yeah, Cranberries have loads of social stuff. I don't do social media myself. I just have a website.
Okay.
Personally, I wouldn't do that kind of thing.
Yeah. Are you going to do some more solo stuff, do you think?
Yeah, I'm working on an album at the moment, so I'm planning on having it out this year.
Is that going to be an
Later.
instrumental, or have you decided?
Yeah, instrumental, yeah. Geez, I don't sing. No, not at all.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not
you
even in
could-
the shower.
You could get some people to come in and lay some vocals.
No, I prefer what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's more enjoyable, yeah.
That's great, man. Man, thank you so much for coming in. I love what you do.
Brilliant.
Cranberry stuff is is still up in all my streams, and it still holds up as good as it sounds as great today as it did when it came out, and it's just got legs that never stop. And so I'm so happy for you, and I'm so happy you're still putting stuff out.
Thanks, Steve. I
All right.
appreciate it.
Have
Thanks
a great
for having me on.
afternoon. Okay.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
For questions or comments, email Steve at steveryan.songoftheday@gmail.com.